Well, a very, very happy Monday morning, and welcome to the John Kentera Show on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Good to be back. Along with Jonathan Oliveri, Coach John Kentera with you for the next 60 minutes. Man, we got a lot to get caught up on. I want to kind of let you know exactly what's gone on with me since our last broadcast. We took time off after Padres season. We kind of got through that first week, and then it was time to take a little bit of a break. And one of the reasons, probably the main reason we took a break, I had to take care of a couple of things medically and had a couple of procedures. Everything went well. Hey, I'm looking as good as new, aren't I? Feeling great, but I needed a little time to not grind because even though we do shows 3 days a week, I grind hard. I grind hard, try to get properly prepared, get all the information, and I need a little break. And along with the procedures and fatigue after having the procedures, now I'm feeling great. I've done 3 basketball games in the last couple of weeks, back doing UC San Diego basketball on ESPN Plus, and so very excited about being back. Jonathan and I are both very excited. We know that there were probably some times that you wish, hey, coach, well, what's coach think about this or what's coach think about that? And we're going to get caught up and we're going to get to a lot of your questions today. Now, the Padres this morning at 10 o'clock are going to hold a press conference naming Craig Stammen their new manager. And it was a shocker. There's no doubt about it. It was a shocker that Craig gets this job. I don't know if Craig even expected to be a major league manager, but 10 o'clock this morning, it will become official. We understand it'll be a 3-year deal. So congratulations to Craig Stammen. We're going to talk about AJ Preller. They keep telling him he's going to get a contract extension, but there's no contract extension. Now, maybe this morning they will announce that contract extension for AJ, and they ought to match it up with the contract that they're giving Craig Stammen. We understand Craig will receive a 3-year contract. AJ is under contract through next season, so they ought to match it up. Give AJ a 2-year contract extension. That way he's right there with the manager. That's the way it should be. But anyways, I want to get to a lot of your questions today. Mike Schilt got fired. He didn't retire. He got fired. They will pay him off, I do believe. But he's out the door. He did not retire. Okay, he got fired. They didn't like the way he was working. He wasn't playing nice with apparently with some of the underlings, and so he's out. Okay, I don't know why you need 14 coaches. I haven't been able to figure that out. The most you need is 8, in my opinion, for a major league staff. And I could go through if you wanted to know what positions I think need to have multiple coaches. Well, it's the pitching coach with the bullpen coach. They work hand in hand. And then you got to have a hitting coach. You don't need 2 assistant hitting coaches. You need 1. Okay. And then, of course, you got your third base coach, your first base coach, your bench coach, your manager, and you're ready to go. Okay. That's all you need, in my opinion. But a lot of these organizations, I think the Dodgers have 10, I believe. We had 14. I mean, guys are bumping into one another. It's like a football staff. You don't need that in baseball. But, anyways, okay, just a quick reminder. If you don't get all of your stuff in today, you go to our webpage on YouTube, Facebook, X, and you can send me a question and we'll get to it. Would very much like you to subscribe to the channel, like it, and we're trying to grow this channel. Okay. We're trying to grow the channel and we appreciate all the great efforts you fans make. And you know what? I know we're working on 4,000 subscribers, but, taking some time off, it was really amazing the feedback I got from people saying, hey, when are you going to get back doing the podcast? So I said, hey, I'm going to get back on November 10th. So it was really nice that people out in the community are paying attention to what I'm doing. And we very much appreciate you being a part of the program today. Okay, let's talk about the Padres. And I want to read something to you right off the bat, which I think you'll find very interesting. And I found it interesting when I received this the other day. It was a text message from a gentleman who's been in the media for 3 decades. And I'm not going to give away a personal message, but I am going to read the message to you. And it said, it's clear the organizational goal has shifted from winning a world championship to making as much money as possible. That it's right, but finishing That's their right, but finishing in fourth place isn't going to be fair to the fans. Anytime a new owner, as in John Seidler, takes over a team in March and is yet to introduce himself, let alone be available to the tiny media market, which is San Diego, tells you all you need to know. Okay, I want to bring up a point that nobody's brought up. I know the flagship station won't bring this up. But last week, they named a street after Peter Seidler. I didn't know. Did you know? Nobody knew. And then I talked to somebody down at Petco Park. They go, yeah, they were putting out tables and chairs, and then they took them away. And then a couple hours later, they brought them back. And they had this get together. John Seidler and Eric Grupner. They talked about Peter Seidler's impact. They had a message from Sheil Seidler saying, she couldn't be there with the children, but, was excited about it. And I think the only people that were there were people walking down the street and Padre employees that were told, hey, come on out and sit in these seats. I mean, I don't know about you, but if you're a Padres fan and you knew Peter Seidler, wouldn't you have maybe liked to have gone down there and, been a part of the whole ceremony and maybe walk and have a little lunch downtown? Nobody knew about it until like after it was over, which I thought was kind of odd. I mean, they didn't send out a press release on this before the event. But nonetheless, okay, now before I get to Stammen, I'm going to give you my thoughts on Craig Stammen. I just don't understand what this organization is doing regarding AJ Preller. AJ Preller was part of the process of hiring a new manager. I don't know if he hired Craig Stammen. I don't know if John Seidler and Eric Grupner hired Craig Stammen. I really don't know. I just know this. I know AJ Preller pretty well. And I know one of the assistant general managers very well, Josh Stein. Those guys want to win, man. They want to win. But I don't know, like that text message I got, the hierarchy above them, where are they at? Why should this deal on a contract extension with AJ Preller be so difficult? I think AJ represents himself, number one. It's not like you don't know the guy and you're not familiar with him. Give him a bump in salary. And I have no idea what AJ makes, but you got to give him a raise. Hell, he's got his team into the playoffs each of the last 2 years, done a great job. Look at the trades he pulled off. Do you realize how much money AJ Preller, and I know, hey, he's like any general manager, he's had some swings and misses. Okay, but we're talking about now. We're talking about building this ball club right now. We got a pretty good ball club here. Even though I think some of the veterans got to get off their duff and be into it a little bit more, namely Machado and Tatis. They got to pick up the pace for me. And I don't know, Manny's truly the leader in the clubhouse. I don't know. But, he took off about 6 weeks, and congratulations, he did win a Silver Slugger award, and Fernando won the Platinum Glove. But those guys have got to pick it up. I mean, let's face it, Manny had a bad last 6 weeks, did not play well, and didn't have a good playoff. 209 career playoff hitter in 51 games. That's not a small sample size. Fernando didn't have a good playoff against Chicago this year. A year ago, he was fantastic. But those guys have got to get back to being stars, not just good, solid players. They got to be stars here in San Diego. But anyways, getting back to AJ Preller, I don't think he's probably asking for the moon. The guy's done a good job. And now that Peter Seidler's no longer here, I don't know where this ownership is at. You got to get this done. You got to get this thing done. And I am shocked and a little ticked off, to be honest with you, that they've not given this man a contract extension as of right now, before they're going to hire the manager this morning officially at 10 o'clock. Now, maybe, just maybe, they will give him a contract extension and it will be announced. But it sure seems like you're giving the old cart before the horse mentality here. Okay, so I said what I said on that. Get him a contract extension. Let's move this organization forward. But he did a hell of a job this year. I mean, what he was able to pull off and going to save the Padres a ton of money with Freddie Fermin going to be your catcher. Saved a lot of money in that area. You don't have to go out and get a free agent. You got Mason Miller going to be one of the best closers in baseball. Robert Suarez did a great job. He moves on in free agency. We're going to go through the free agents the Padres have as well during the course of the program. But at the end of the day, did a great job. Brought in Ryan O'Hearn. They're going to now pick up the option on Ramon Laureano, $6.5 million. I mean, what would you have to pay for a left fielder? $15 million, a guy that can hit. They got him for $6.5 million for next year because AJ pulled off this deal. Get the man a contract extension and let's get it done now. Okay, Craig Stammen. Craig Stammen was on my radio program probably a half dozen times. Great guy, great human being, great teammate, a pro's pro. But I had a million people last week when it was announced, what was on Thursday? I can't begin to tell you how many people called, text messages. I mean, the text messages would not quit coming. Coach, what do you think about this? What do I think about it? I don't know if he can manage. You don't know if he can manage. Hell, Craig Stammen doesn't know if he can manage right now. We're going to have to find out. Only thing I know, he's a guy that played for 13 years in the big leagues. He's been in good clubhouses, mediocre clubhouses, and probably bad clubhouses. He knows the way it's supposed to work. And hey, you know what? He's a smart guy. He's a great guy. I think all of us guys that know him, and I think people that know him around baseball are going, wow, Craig's going to manage. But man, we want to see him be successful. This guy here, for me, is an easy guy to pull for. Okay. I don't know how good the Padres are going to be. They got a lot of work to do. You got to figure out a first baseman. You got to figure out your starting rotation. But I know what? You win with good people. And Craig Stammen's good people. And he's going to be an easy guy to root for. But, I read all the message boards last week. And I understand it. We thought maybe Albert Pujols, maybe our buddy Nick Hundley. Nick's a personal friend of mine. Love Nick Hundley. Didn't know he wanted to manage. Lives here in San Diego, working for the Texas Rangers. Good baseball man. Of course, I got to be honest with you. Having caught a lot in my amateur days, and having coached, and I can tell you, having been a catcher for 11 years, and from little league through junior college, I got to tell you, I'm all about the catchers being managers because the game's always in front of you. I've never been a guy that was huge on hiring pitchers as managers. But hey, Craig Stammen's a smart guy, kind of like Buddy Black in that area. And I'm not saying that he's going to be to the level of Buddy Black managing, but Buddy's a smart guy, really smart guy. And Craig Stammen's a really, really smart guy and a good guy like Buddy is. And we'll see where it goes. But, it could have been Nick Hundley, Pujols. We heard they interviewed Brandon Hyde, the former Baltimore Oriole manager. Pujols, from what I heard, okay, and this is all hearsay, and I don't want to make it a big deal here. I think Albert Pujols will eventually get a job, probably in St. Louis. They like Ollie Marmol, and of course they like Yadier Molina as well. But I think Pujols eventually will get a managerial job. Maybe he'll have to be a hitting coach. Maybe he doesn't want to do that. He represents the Dominican Republic and manages that ball club. Did a great job, no question about it. Managed Winter League as well. But Pujols, from what I heard, I don't think it was about money. I really don't think it was about money. I think it was about more control. He wanted to bring in his pitching coach. He wanted to bring in his hitting coach. Totally get that. I totally respect that. Because that's the way I was. When I took coaching jobs, I needed my own people. I didn't want somebody else's person on that staff. I wanted to hire who it was, whether pitching coach, hitting coach, whatever. It had to be my guy, or I wasn't going to take the job. And I totally get that. If that was the breaking point, that I totally get that. But Craig Stammen, what was interesting, and I got nothing bad to say about Craig Stammen. Time will tell if he can manage or not. He doesn't even know, like I said. But the thing that's really kind of funny on this whole thing is he was on the interview committee. He was interviewing these guys. And all of a sudden, Craig Stammen's the manager. It's like one night, Tim Neverett, who does the Dodger games, I went to a game back in, I think it was 2008. Yeah, in fact, it was 2008. I was doing USD basketball. And they'd won the West Coast Conference Championship. And Joe Totino and I went to Las Vegas for a Manny Pacquiao fight against Juan Manuel Marquez. I thought Marquez won the fight. They gave it to Pacquiao. But anyways, we did a show on Friday, and I wanted to go to the Mountain West Conference basketball tournament. I went to the game, and I got pulled out of the stands by Tim Neverett to do the second game. I was wearing a pair of shorts and a pullover. And it's kind of like I went to the game as a fan, and I became the broadcaster. I ended up doing the Utah game against UNLV, and I'm interviewing Lon Kruger after the game. It was the funniest thing. I mean, I told Tim, "You can't believe it. You're going to pull me out of the stands to broadcast this game?" Yeah, he goes, "I need you." So I ended up doing a game, but it's kind of like this. Craig Stammen shows up to interview the candidates, and all of a sudden he becomes a candidate, which is kind of interesting. I have no idea who else they interviewed. I know Brian Esposito, Mark Lorette, I heard their names were mentioned. But Craig Stammen's going to be our manager. Let's pull the rope in the right direction. Let's don't bitch, moan, and complain. This guy's been a good teammate, been a good member of the organization, and that's who they've deemed to be the next skipper of this ball club. And let's go for it. And let's see what happens. I wish Craig the best of luck. Again, I mentioned he came on my program about 6 times, and he was always so gracious with his time and just a great wife. I think he's got 4 kids now, and wish him the very, very best. And we'll see where it goes. But again, got to get AJ Preller under contract here. Okay, I want to talk about Victor Rodríguez. I can't believe the crap this guy took here in San Diego. Victor Rodríguez is a damn good hitting coach, folks. And a lot of people, because of the failures of players on this team, they were properly prepared. They just didn't get the job done. Okay, we could go up and down. I mean, Arise, as much as I like Arise, he didn't have a great year. I mean, anytime he hits under 300, it's not a great year because he's not a power guy. Cronenworth didn't have a good year. Bogarts was okay. Manny was okay. I know he won a Silver Slugger, but hitting 275 and 27 homers, I'm not going to put him in the Hall of Fame with that. Left field, Gavin Sheets did a hell of a job. Laureano added to it, even though he slowed down there towards the end. And then, of course, he got hurt and missed the postseason. Jackson Merrill, when he played, did a good job. It couldn't stay in the lineup. Fernando had an productive offensive year. Didn't perform anywhere near what he ended up with 24, 25 homers. Great. Didn't hit for a high average, went through funks. And Rhino Hearn came in, did a nice job. But you know what? Victor Rodríguez is a damn good hitting coach. And I went back because yesterday I was so irritated by hearing stuff about Victor Rodríguez. Now, first of all, I don't know Victor. I know his resume, though. And his resume is damn good. And he's leaving the organization. He's going to the Houston Astros. Do you think the Houston Astros are going to hire a guy that they don't think can coach hitters? They're a good organization, even though I can't stand their owner. I can't stand that organization. Jim Crane, the owner, not a fan. But Victor Rodríguez is a damn good hitting coach. Now, people have a short memory. And I realize in sports that happens. But if you go back to the 2024 season, Padres were number 1 in all of baseball that year. They hit 263 as a team. Okay, number 1 in baseball. They had a 324 on base percentage. They had a 420 slug, a 745 OPS. They scored 760 runs, 259 doubles, 18 triples, and 190 home runs. That's a damn good year. And they walked 458 times and struck out only 1,077 times. Now, 2025, the numbers were down. There's no question about it. But you had a lot of the same players. Now, you got to remember guys like Jackson Merrill didn't play a lot, so his numbers were automatically going to be down. Plus, let's face it, each of the last 2 years, we've gotten no power whatsoever out of the catching position. So that played a part in this past year, the power numbers being down. Cronenworth didn't have a great year hitting home runs. His numbers were a little bit down. Bogart's numbers were down. Padres in 2025, this past year, seventh in batting average in all of baseball. That's pretty good. Out of 30 teams in 2024, they're number one. Last year, they're number seven. That's pretty good. They hit 252. Again, 11 points under what they did the year before, a 321 on base percentage, -3 from the year before. The slugging percentage went from 420 down to 390. And a lot of that has to do with Jackson Merrill, quite frankly, being out in the lineup, and Bogart's not hitting for a lot of power, nor Arrives hitting for a lot of power, and the catching spot not hitting for a lot of power. So this is not a Victor Rodríguez deal. This is a talent level deal. The Padres had a 711 OPS, -34 from the year before. They scored 58 runs less at 702. 254 doubles, 5 less than the year before. They were even in triples at 18, and they were -38 in home runs. They had 152 home runs where they had 190 the year before, or -38. And 510 walks, 1,161 strikeouts, and 5,424 at bats. You know what? Those numbers are not awful, especially when you consider you don't get a lot of power out of first base. Cronenworth had a bad year. Bogarts, didn't hit for a ton of home runs. I mean, he didn't even get to, 17 home runs. Jackson Merrill didn't get to his number. He had his rookie year. Fernando was under his number. So, you know what? You can blame Victor Rodríguez all you want. He probably got a better deal in Houston, more money. And, but I can't believe the venom that people had towards Victor Rodríguez. Hey, only thing the hitting coach can do is work with the guys off the tee, soft toss, BP, in the cage, looking at tape, trying to get them physically and mentally prepared. Once you step into that batter's box, it's a one-on-one sport, folks. So get off the hitting coach. I don't know who they're going to hire. They've got actually some pretty good guys in the organization. Morgan Burkhart, who's been one of the assistant, really good guy. Been in the organization a long time. Really good hitting coach. And you talk to players, they swear by him, especially a lot of the guys that have come up through the minor leagues. The other coach, the Padres are losing, and it hasn't become official, probably going to be today or tomorrow. Tim Leiper, their third base coach the last couple of years, he is going to be moving on to the New York Mets. So good luck to him. Okay, I just want to remind everyone of the free agents, and then we're going to get out to Coach's crew. As you can tell, I'm fired up today. By the way, the general managers meetings get underway. And it'll be very interesting to see what comes out of those general managers meetings. Okay, let's go through the Padre free agents and everything that's going on right now. By the way, I do want to make this comment about Mike Schill. I think Mike Schill's a really good baseball manager. I think he's a good baseball man, but I'm not going to miss him. Not a fan. Not a fan at all. In fact, I got to the point last year where I wouldn't even watch the Padres station after the game. I got tired of hearing what he had to say, because anytime anybody asked him any type of question about strategy or this guy or that guy, he'd get defensive. And that's something he needs to work on if he's ever going to be a manager again. But I was not a fan. And I brought that up from time to time. I don't wish him any ill will. I think he's a great baseball man, but he wasn't my cup of tea. Okay, Padre free agents. We know Michael King, as we told you in the middle of the year. We told you actually when he signed that deal last year, just prior to the start of the year, that he'd get out of that deal. He declined the $15 million option. Hey, he got $3.75 million to decline it. Now he's going to go out and sign a long-term contract, more than likely. Now, the Padres did put a qualifying offer on him for a little over $22 million. And, you got Dylan Cease out there as well. He's a free agent. Padres put a qualifying offer on him. Robert Suarez opted out of his player option for 2 years. I could have been here in 26 and 27 for $8 million per year, a total of $16 million. He wasn't going to do that. He led the National League in saves. He made $10 million this year. Why is he going to go backwards? And he's 34 years of age. He's got to get that money. So Robert Suarez, hey, hats off to you, man. Nice job. Good guy. Did a nice job here in San Diego. Wish him the best. Elias Diaz. Padres declined their part of a $7 million mutual option. He's going to get a $2 million buyout. Kyle Hart, $5 million mutual option. Padres declined their end. He'll get a $500,000 buyout. Wandy Peralta opted in on his 4.45 player option. Tyler Wade declined. Padres declined his option for $1 million next year. He gets a $50,000 buyout, and of course, Luis Arraez, Ryan O'Hearn, Jose Iglesias all become free agents. And Ramon Laureano, as I mentioned, Padres pick up his $6.5 million club option for next year. So there you have it. Okay, I've been waiting for this. I'm ready to get out and get to some of our questions on Coach's Crew. I'm sure a lot of you have questions. I'm very excited about taking those questions. Yesterday I attended, along with my wife, Scott Miller, our good friend who passed away a few months ago. They had a beautiful, beautiful function yesterday at Petco Park yesterday afternoon from 1 to 4. Some of the great people that we talk about all the time. John Heyman from the MLB Network was there. Bob Nightingale, great baseball writer. Bobby was kind of the organizer, along with Kim Miller, Scott's wife, and Gretchen, his daughter. Mike Pomerantz of Padre TV fame did a marvelous job emceeing the event. Buddy Black was there. AJ Preller was there. Josh Stein was there. Had a great conversation with the head of the Major League Baseball Players Association, Tony Clark. We talked about how when he was 16 years of age, I drove out to Valhalla High School before he transferred to Christian, and gave him an academic award his junior year at Valhalla. And Tony and the Major League Baseball Players Association are going to be digging their heels in after this season to deal with the owners on the owners want a salary cap. So that'll be interesting. It was great to see Tony, and that was very nice of him to fly in from New York to be a part of the Scott Miller celebration of life. And I could go on. Ron Fowler was there yesterday. You could go on and on about the people that showed up yesterday. It was really, really a fantastic event. Coach Ted Tolden, the former Aztec football coach, was there. So we had a great time. But let's get out to Coach's Crew. I want to get to your questions. Everybody's got to have questions about what's going on with our San Diego Padres. Good morning, Coach, and welcome back. Great World Series, and even better with my Dodgers winning it. Dodgers don't sign a closer in the offseason. What do you think about Sasaki being the closer? A possibility? I think that's very much a possibility. They still want him to be a starting pitcher. And I got to say this. That World Series was unbelievable. Was it the greatest World Series ever? I don't know. But I can tell you this. It was an incredible, incredible 7-game series. I mean, the twists and turns, and quite frankly, I thought, and this tells you how great the Dodgers are, though. I thought Toronto outplayed the Dodgers a high percentage of the time. Yet the Dodgers were find a way to win it. I mean, that play, well, first of all, the home run by Rojas, then the play by Rojas defensively when he was able to right the ship and throw out Isaiah Kiner Falefa at the plate, and then Falefa took all kinds of heat. Didn't have a good secondary lead, didn't have a good lead to begin with. That was a great play by Rojas. And then the play by Pages running over Kike Hernandez, and then Will Smith, boom, hits the home run. Just an amazing, amazing World Series. That tells you how good the Dodgers are, that they were able to win that. They were down dead to right. They should have lost it. They should have lost it in that ninth inning. but they found a way to win it. Great ball clubs find ways to win. That 18 inning game, oh my God, unbelievable baseball. Just amazing baseball. Somebody asked me, what do you think about Rob Manfred? What he thought of the 18 inning game? I go, well, he probably went to bed because, he's the guy that wants the Manfred man out there at second base. And I get the whole thing. Well, they're going to blow up the bullpen and blah, 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 blah. That was baseball history, man. It's like yesterday. I mentioned Tony Clark. I told my wife, I go, yeah, Tony was playing first base the night that the Padres got beat 2-1 by Colorado in that 22 inning game. And I got off the air at 2:15 and walked into the house at 3 in the morning. I mean, that's a great baseball memory. And then, like a week and a half later, the Padres played a 17 inning game against the Cincinnati Reds. Those are things when you go to the game, you always remember. I mean, in the old days, they only used to have 10 pitchers. Now they got 13 and they're still belly aching about guys throwing too much. Unbelievable. But nonetheless, great World Series. The best team won. And the thing, and I know this is a high Padre audience, and you're not going to probably like what I'm going to say, but the Dodgers have a lot of likable players, and Toronto has a lot of likable players. I mean, Freddie Freeman, I don't know how you can root against a guy like Freddie Freeman. I think Ohtani just amazing. Will Smith, great player. Mookie Betts didn't have a great series, but still played great defense. But they've got likable players. They got guys that play the game the right way. Toronto, man, John Schneider, I got tremendous amount of respect for him. You know what? I don't know if you saw the interview after the World Series, and they asked him about, what did you tell your team? And the first thing he said, he goes, well, it was the first meeting we've had all year. Do you realize when he's saying that team is run itself? They didn't have to have like a come to Jesus meeting any point in time because they got real leaders on that ball club. They got real leader. I mean, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., his dad was one of my favorite players of all time. And you got guys that have been there, done that, veteran guys. And he goes, yeah, this is our first time I've talked to the team all year as a group. Hey, thank you. I love you. And, we're going to come back bigger and better next year. But John Schneider, to me, he's really, really good manager. He's a baseball lifer, a guy that grinded. If you don't know the story on John Schneider, they offered him a coaching job. And he goes, well, let me think about it. And the next day he went out and his first time up, he hit a home run. He came around and said, I'm done. And he took his shoes off. The next day he was a coach in the minor leagues. Pretty amazing stuff. But no, Casey, congratulations to your Dodgers. Heck of a ball club, man. And what Yamamoto was able to do, I was talking with Buddy Black about that yesterday, and Buddy and I were just going, wow, that guy is unbelievable. That guy, he's always working on getting prepared. Ohtani didn't pitch great, but again, he pitched that one game right after the 18 inning affair and came back on short rest, didn't perform that well, but still had a good series swinging the bat. And wow, just amazing. And boy, the Dodgers, they've been on a run. They've been in parades. They've been at the Laker game. They've been at the football games. They've been everywhere. They're like rock stars right now. But anyways, Casey, congratulations. Hopefully our Padres down here can do some damage next year. Okay, what else we got? Let's keep them coming on this Monday morning. Big Sam, Coach, so great to see you back. Nobody knows how to cover the Padres quite like yourself. Thank you very much. That means a lot to me. Who do you think are a couple of starting pitchers the Padres need to target this offseason in free agency? Sam, I haven't really looked all that hard right now. I would try to re-sign Michael King. I think I'd let Cease go, but I would like to try to re-sign Michael King. I'll have to, before Wednesday show, I'll take a look at the free agent list. You may have somebody out there that you got your eye on. I really don't at this point in time. And I haven't really focused on the free agency a whole lot. We've had so much stuff going on here in San Diego, the managerial search, waiting for AJ to get a contract extension, what the Padres were going to do with their different free agents. But I'll do a little bit better job of preparing for that on Wednesday. But thank you for the kind words, Sam. It means a lot to me. Thank you very much. Okay, what else we got? Retro. I was hoping the Padres would have hired Rocco Baldelli or Albert Pujols, but I'm going to give Stammen a chance. Plus, some of his teammates are still in San Diego. Okay, Rocco Baldelli. I don't know if they interviewed him. If you recall, one of our last shows, it may have been our last show before we went on vacation. I mentioned Rocco Baldelli. Rocco Baldelli, for some reason, resonates with me. I thought he maybe should have been one of the very, very first guys they interviewed. Why? I don't know. I know that they'd cut the payroll in Minnesota. I know that, they're going through a transition with ownership, but Rocco Baldelli won 3 division titles. And granted, in the American League Central, not the toughest, but hey, you got Cleveland in there. Cleveland's tough. Milwaukee's tough. Or actually, Milwaukee. I keep wanting to put Milwaukee in the American League. I don't know why I do that, but I guess because they were for so many years. But, anyways, he won 3 division titles with Minnesota. And I'm a big Rocco Baldelli fan. I thought he was a good ball player. Unfortunately, injuries really curtailed his career. But I think he did a pretty good job as a manager. I'm surprised he didn't get a better look, not only from the Padres, but from other ball clubs. I don't know if the Padres ever really interviewed him. We never heard his name mentioned. Pools, I think it came down. I don't think it came down to money. I know that's what they thought maybe up in Anaheim. I think he wanted to have more control. I think he wanted to bring in all of his guys. And the Padres go, no. And Ruben Niebla, as far as I know, is going to stay. He got a 2-year contract. Now we got to need to get a hitting coach, got to get a third base coach. I don't know about David Macias. Ben Fritz, they give him a multi-year deal to be the bullpen coach. Brian Esposito, I don't know if he's going to stay on as a bullpen coach or the bench coach. There'll be a lot of things decided here, I would imagine, over the next week. But this morning at 10 o'clock, Craig Stammen going to be named the new manager of our San Diego Padres. Retro, thank you very much. I very much appreciate that. All right, Jason, we just need the Stars to play better. I'm tired of Manny and Tatis struggling. I'm glad Arise is no longer on the team. Now we need to trade Crone. I would try to trade Cronenworth. In fact, I would have probably tried to trade him each of the last 2 winners. You've gotten everything you can get out of him. He's not going to get any better. He's got to rework his swing. I mean, I would volunteer to work with him. The first thing that I would want to know, what is his philosophy hitting? What is he trying to get accomplished? I mean, swinging up like this and that elbow, that ain't working, man. You got to stay on top of the baseball. Hit line drives, hit balls with backspin, and let him carry out of the ballpark. I mean, he's just not a guy that makes adjustments at the plate. It's the same old tired swing time and time again. Why do you think he fouls so many balls off over there? I mean, it's unbelievable. Get on top of the baseball. Get the barrel out. Don't drag the barrel through the hitting area. But you know what? Tatis has got to grow up. Got to be a little more mature. I got to show up and be a pro day in and day out and lay it on the line. He looked like he had lost his dog most of the year. I don't know what happened to him in the first couple of months, man. We were talking on this program and every other program, including the MLB Network, talking about, hey, Fernando could be the MVP of the National League. Hell, in my opinion, by the time they got to the All-Star game, he shouldn't even have been an All-Star. Disappointed in him. And he's my favorite player. He's my favorite Padre. But he got to be better. Manny had a pretty good year until the last 6 weeks, and then he couldn't do squat. And he made 15 errors. Now, he got better defensively because he made those 15 errors pretty early in the year. But, he makes gold glove plays, but he wasn't consistent. Gets a little lazy with that right arm, drops that elbow, and throws those balls low in the dirt. He got a great arm, man. Use that arm, everyone. Get on top of the baseball, man. You throw the ball over there full bore. But those two guys have got to pick it up. And there has to be an accountability with those two guys. So we'll see where it goes. But you know what? It just seems like every year, and granted, these guys have won a lot of games each of the last 2 years. But it just seems like these guys, every year finishes the same. Like they're limping to the finish line. And disappointing against the Cubs. Cubs played hard. Cubs got a good ball club. One of the guys Sam was asking me about, what about Shota Imanaga? I guess they put a qualifying offer on him after all, but he's a guy I kind of like. I know he gives up home runs. I know he didn't have a great year, but I'd take a look at him. I like Imanaga. I think he's a good pitcher. And I think, coming to San Diego, a little bit more of a pitcher-friendly ballpark than the friendly confines of Wrigley Field. I think he could have success here. I don't know what his price tag's going to be. But Jason, thank you very much. Appreciate that. I will say this, Luis Arraez. I like Luis Arraez. I think he's a good guy. I think he comes every day to win ball games. I think his price tag is hard to figure. I heard the other day probably 2 years at $30 million. I don't think I can do that in San Diego. He was making 14 this year. I don't think you can give him 15 because he doesn't hit with power. I could see maybe 2 years, 12 million, or maybe 24. I could see that. But there's some team out there that'll probably give him a pretty good deal. We'll have to wait and see on that. All right, Rome, what will the Padres do for pitching to survive the season and have top arms for 2026 postseason? I don't know. I mean, right now you got Joe Musgrove coming back. He'll be on, gotta believe, on innings restriction. You got Nick Pivetta coming back from a career year. Hopefully, he didn't have to be as good as he was this year, but be close. He had a career year. I don't know if he can exceed that, but just do what you did last year, and we're going to be happy. You got Randy Vasquez. Um, I don't know. After that, it's going to be interesting. I don't know what to tell you on that. Maybe they try to re-sign Kyle Hart. Kyle Hart pitched really well at Petco, but he was not very good on the road. His numbers at Petco were fantastic. So maybe they'll, bring him back on a bare bones contract. They gave him 500,000 to go away. Maybe on a $5 million deal. Maybe they give him 2.5 million along with the 500,000 be a $3 million deal. Maybe they go that direction, but they're going to have to go out and get another impact guy. Got to get an impact guy. And I don't know who that is at this point in time. And I don't really think they have anything in their organization they're going to be able to bring up. But Rome, thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. Okay, Dodgers going to be tough to bring down. Well, I think the Dodgers are going to be tough to bring down. Um, here's my take, and I told people this during the World Series. The Dodgers pretty much went through the entire regular season like it was spring training. Yeah, they had their big boys. I mean, Freeman was in there most of the time. Mookie Betts, after the slow start where he lost all the weight when they went before they even went to Japan, didn't even play in the Japan series. Um, and he did not have a great year. He got better in August and September than he was the first 4 months. Um, the Dodgers are not going to sit on winning 2 World Series in a row. They're going to work on getting better. And, I don't know if they're going to go after that third baseman coming over from Japan, Munetaka Murakami. I don't know if they're going to go after him. A lot of strikeouts, big time power. Where does he play with the Dodgers? Not going to play first, not going to play third, not going to DH. They picked up the option the other day, the $10 million option on Max Muncy. They got to get an outfielder. I don't know who they're going to go get. We've heard Kyle Tucker. I'm not giving Tucker $500 million. He's not that good, and he's been injured quite a bit the last couple of years. They need to move Teoscar Hernandez back to left field, get a legitimate right fielder in there. Who that is, I don't know. They'll figure that out. They got the money. The other thing, and I got to find this list. I'll hunt for it here in the next couple of days, and if I don't have it Wednesday, I'll have it by Friday. But the Dodgers, everybody bitches, moaning, and complaining about them spending money. They spend a ton of money. Toronto spent a ton of money. Dodgers put back in 73% of the revenue that they bring in. 73% of the revenue. Now, I realize their revenue is higher than everybody else. I get that. But their ownership is definitely made a commitment. They want to win, and they want to win every year. I'm hoping the ownership does that with the Lakers. Lakers look terribly tonight against the Hawks. They go again tonight, but they're off to a good start. But man, they didn't look like they wanted to play the other night. That was a rough one. But I'm going to take a look at what the Padres spend per year. But at the end of the day, Dodgers are going to be tough. The thing that gets me, and people can talk about resources all you want. When you're drafting lower in the first round than other teams and you're getting better players long term, they're doing something right in that organization. It isn't just because they eat good. Down in the minor leagues, nutrition is better. I guess the coaching must be better because there are a lot of guys that get drafted, by the Dodgers lower than just about every other team, yet their guys come up and end up being very productive stars. So they're doing something right. And it's not just because they're eating better down in the minor leagues and those guys are getting big and strong. They're doing something behind the scenes. And the other thing about the Dodgers, whenever they go after a guy, they've got a definite plan of what they want that guy to work on. They present it to him. Hey, this is what we're seeing. This is what the data is telling us. And if those guys buy in, then all of a sudden they go to work on that. But they went through the entire regular season, moving guys back and forth from Oklahoma City to the Dodgers, from the Dodgers to Arizona, the stay hot camp, they call it. Will Klein, the guy that came in that one playoff game that was unbelievable. He goes, yeah, I was over in Arizona at the Stay Hot camp. They work on different things. They're working on your mechanics, a certain pitch. You got to do this. You got to do that. And then when they think you've reached it, then they bring you back. Look at the job they did with Sasaki. My God. Sasaki, you saw him earlier in the year, and you're thinking, man, what's going on with this guy? We realize he's coming to a new country and, it's a lot different. But in the baseball's a little bit bigger than it is in Japan. Maybe he's having a hard time adjusting the grip on the baseball. And then we heard he was going to be out the remainder of the year with a shoulder impingement. And they worked with him. They got him in good shape. That impingement went away. And he didn't pitch well in AAA, yet they put him in a Dodger uniform and the guy's throwing BBs and getting big league hitters out. I mean, it's amazing some of the outings that kid had. And he doesn't even know what he's doing yet. I mean, he's going to be dangerous. I don't know if he's going to be a starting pitcher, but man, he could have a career for a closer for 15 years the way he throws the baseball. He's only 23. Well, I think he just turned 24. Amazing. Amazing. And you know what? They've made so much money already in Japan. I mean, with Otani and Yamamoto, and they've got Kim, who's from Korea. How about Kim? He goes on a station in Korea and apologizes to his countrymen, saying, I didn't play well this year. I'm going to play better next year. I promise you I'll be better. He went back to Korea and apologized to the fan base. It's amazing. High character guy. High character guy. Okay, we got any more questions? We got any more questions out there for me? Yeah, there we go. Oh, wow. Thank you very much. O2RR. Very much appreciate that. Speaking of starting pitching, Yu Darvish will miss all of next season despite his big contract. I think it's time to accept our loss and move on. Okay, let me get Yu Darvish's contract. I did that. Well, let's say this. Not surprised. Not surprised. Okay, Yu Darvish, this past year, 2025, he made $25 million. This next year, 2026, he won't pitch. He'll rehab. $15 million. And then he's still under contract for 2 more years for $14 million and $14 million. So after this year, 2025, he got $25 million. He will receive an additional $43 million from the San Diego Padres. And, he's going to get $14 million for rehabbing. And then he'll come back in 2027 and try to pitch. And if he can, great. If he can't, then, he'll continue to get paid. Not going to retire. I mean, why would you retire? You retire, you don't get your money. We thought he might retire this year, but decided to have that ulnar collateral brace surgery. So it is a loss. I mean, man, a lot of money. A lot of money. Very frustrating. That money could be going for another starting pitcher. Someone we don't have. And, I hope Joe comes back, but, Joe's not young. I mean, Joe's, 33 years of age? coming back from Tommy John. I know the guy's a workhorse. He goes full bore. Big Joe Musgrove fan, as you all know. But again, it'd probably be on an innings restriction. But O2RR, thank you very much for the super. That's very much appreciated. And we do have bills to pay, normally out of my pocket, but I think we need to continue to keep this show going. People seem to like what we do, so that's why we're here. Chris 4, is Stammen going to be able to hold Tatis and Machado accountable? Will those guys respect him? Well, I'll tell you what, if he is, he'll be the first guy to hold him accountable. I don't know if you're not even allowed to talk to these guys. I know Tatis got Bobby Dickerson. He got him fired, the infield coach who went to the Phillies like 5 minutes after he got fired in San Diego a few years ago when Fernando was still playing shortstop. He got Dickerson fired because Dickerson got on his ass all the time. Yeah, Fernando's got to grow up, man. You know what? He's not on a Hall of Fame track. I thought after the first couple of years, man, this guy's going to be a sure Hall of Famer. Right now, I got a lot of work to do. You can't get in the Hall of Fame on 2 platinum gloves. You got to, he did lead the league in home runs that one year with 42, and that seems like eons ago to me. Machado, I don't know what to tell you. It is what it is. It is what it is. He kind of, I don't know. A lot of people ask me, why don't people get on Machado in this town? I go, they don't get on anybody in this town except the hitting coaches. That's kind of what the fallback. Blame the hitting coach. Well, I got news for you. The hitting coach got a better job with a better ball club right now, the Houston Astros. I don't know how good we're going to be next year. Giants are going to be better. Arizona's not going away. How about Colorado hiring Paul DePodesta to be the president of the baseball operations? Paul, a good guy, been in the NFL the last decade. He's going to hire a general manager. I wonder who that's going to be. We'll have to wait and see. But anyways, we'll find out on that, Chris. I don't know. I mean, I just like to see Fernando go out there and play like he is enjoying playing. I didn't see a whole lot of that. Do you think Xander can hit 20 homers this season? I think he improved a lot in the second half last year. I'm a big Xander Bogaerts fan. No, I don't think he can hit 20 unless he really decides to pull everything because very seldom will you see Xander hit a ball out to left center field over the 375 mark or 380 mark. Most of his home runs these days seem to be pulled down the line. He used to hit 20, 23 home runs. Then he went down to 17, and his total this year, I think, was under 15. I'll have to take a look at that. But no, I don't see him hitting 20 home runs. I still think he played a really, really good shortstop. Hassan Kim, by the way, declined his option with the Atlanta Braves. He's a free agent. You want to bring him back? Want my opinion on that? No. I'm moving on. I think we saw the best of Hassan Kim when he was in a Padres uniform. He'd had injuries with Tampa Bay. They traded him to Atlanta, and I don't want to see Hassan Kim coming back. So all you HSK fans that have jerseys, hey, I loved him. He's a great guy, played his tail off, but I don't want to go back that direction. But no, I don't think Xander will hit 20 home runs. It's been a while since he's hit 20 home runs. I'm going to go back and look at that. The thing that I love about this show, and I talked about how much I enjoy preparing. I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at starting pitchers because Sam Sanford wants me to find out who free agents are out there on the free agent market. And I'm going to check and see the last time Xander hit a home run or 20 home runs. So I'll do that for Wednesday. I guarantee it 100%. But thank you very much. Very much appreciate that. What else we got today? Okay, we already talked about the Dodgers. Okay, congratulations to SDFC. They move on to the Western Conference semifinals after last night drilling the Portland Timbers Snapdragon. They said 32,500 for nothing last night. So congratulations to Tom Penn and Mikey Varas. Good job there. Next round starts November 24th at 7 o'clock at Snapdragon, and they'll go against Minnesota United. Man, that was exciting. And some of those goals last night were fantastic. And then I want to congratulate Brian Dutcher, the head basketball coach at San Diego State. In an afternoon affair yesterday, they defeated Idaho State 73-57. Brian Dutcher's 200th career win already as the bench boss of the Aztecs. He's 200 wins and 68 losses. Man, that's a hell of a run. And they're going to roll off a lot of W's this year. They're going to be awful good. Great to see Reese Waters-Dixon back in the lineup. Number 39. We're number 39 this year. Came in last night as a starter. Didn't play in the first game. Played yesterday. Led the Aztecs in scoring. Did a really, really nice job. But congratulations to Brian Dutcher. Okay, I want to remind everyone, we got the big press conference coming up here shortly. I'll be back in on Wednesday. Again, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 a.m. And please remember to like, subscribe, send in your questions. We very much appreciate that. And we'll look forward to visiting with you again on Wednesday. For our first show back, I think it went very, very well. Have a great Monday, Tuesday, and I'll talk to you bright and early on Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. Till then, Coach John Kentera, have a great day, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to the John Kentera Show on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Bye-bye.